Hello, hello. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays and Rise Up with Orion. Thank you so much for joining us. I am absolutely thrilled to have my cohort, Mandy Hopkins, on the call today. She is our East Coast account executive. Similar world to what I'm living in, but Mandy actually comes to us with some amazing experience and a true expert in what it is that we're talking about today. So as a quick introduction, Mandy's earned degrees in behavioral health psychology, human growth and development. She's certified by the NCCDP, which stands for the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioners, as a certified dementia practitioner, and by the Alzheimer's Organization as a support group facilitator. She has a history of working in multiple medical care offices, home health care, and rehab. Mandy's held titles including medical assistant, medical office manager, client care manager, social service director, and now an Orion account executive on the East Coast. So Mandy is coming to us with a lot of love and knowledge about the health and the body. She loves sharing all that knowledge that she's got and what she can. Mandy lives on the East Coast in central New Hampshire with her husband, her daughter, and her dog. So welcome, Mandy. I hope I did justice of all of your background.
You did. Thank you so much for having me today, Tara. I'm so happy to be here with you and talk about this big topic encompassing intellectual wellness and brain health. As you said, I have a pretty extensive history in this. Not that I am an expert by any means. However, I do love talking about the brain and all things brain. So thank you very much for having me.
And this is really exciting for myself and Orion as well, because I feel like a lot of the time intellectual well-being, we kind of forget about that aspect of well-being. So I'm so excited that we're kind of launching this and talking about it today. And I would love to kind of bring in, some of my, do I dare say, brain farts, or some of those senior moments. Not that I'm a senior yet, but again, it's going to happen. Where I just had two of them this week, Mandy, and it's often very frustrating. I'm sure other people feel this as well, where just yesterday I walked into one of my coworkers' offices and I got there and I was like, I have no idea why I'm here. So just give me a minute and maybe it'll come to me. And, I left the office and I came back and I finally figured it out. Or another example, and I would love to kind of hear how many people are in this boat while I launch the poll. I want you to think about these moments because there are so many examples of this that I'm driving somewhere, I'm driving home, I'm trying to figure out what I'm feeding my kids for dinner, and am I going to make it there on time? And I have no idea how I got from point A to B. And how scary is that, right? Where I've taken a roundabout way home and I'm there and I'm glad I'm there safely. But again, I'm not even thinking about it. So,
Absolutely.
Andy, are these some examples?
I forget where my keys are all the time, or I can't find that list that I made of the things at the grocery store that I need. Then I get there and I think I buy everything but the one item that I went for. And I'm sure everybody has those types of moments. It's not just us.
Yes, no kidding, no kidding. So we've got some great responses on the quick poll to see if other people are running into these things. So thank you everyone for your responses on here. So let me see if I can share this. Mandy, let me know if you can see these poll results. Can you see them?
Yes, I do see them. We have other people that are just like us and have these moments multiple times a day, a few times a week, or even once a day. So we've got a pretty good response in there that we are definitely not alone in this. These are just some examples that we've given of brain fog and confusion that we all experience from time to time. Those occasional senior moments can be frustrating and disruptive to our daily routines, and that's the reason we're here today. We're here to learn about the intellectual wellness and ways to improve brain health. Studies have shown that good health habits can actually help to prevent cognitive decline with age. So some quick facts about memory that I just wanted to throw in here before we got into intellectual wellness is, did you know short-term memory only lasts 20 to 30 seconds. Also, that sleep is significant to memory. It helps in retrieval and storage of long-term memories. Caffeine only helps to increase alertness. It doesn't maintain memory performances.
I'm scribbling that one down.
Also, our memory has the ability to associate a scent with a particular event. Smell is your only sense that is directly connected to this part of your brain, which is the amygdala, which is the key component to processing emotions, and the hippocampus, which is responsible for your memories. All other sensory input travels first to other parts of your brain for initial processing prior to reaching the memory processing center, therefore making smell the most powerful in the memory process of all your other senses.
Oh my gosh, so that is so crazy. And I think I often think about that too. If you ever smell, I'm trying to think about what that flower is that's in Hawaii, where anyways, most of you probably know what I'm thinking about, but there is one flower that it just brings me to Hawaii, no matter if it's in a candle, a lotion, it doesn't matter. But oh my goodness, I'm totally with you. And you know, even like the smell of all the herbs and sage and things that go into Thanksgiving stuffing, it'll probably make me salivate just thinking about it. But just that scent of that spice just kind of break magnolia. Someone brought it up, magnolia. Thank you. But again, the spice for Thanksgiving, they transport you there, which is such an amazing thing. I love it.
It is. And the last fact that I want to give is just like any other part of your body, exercise is also very important to your brain.
Ah, bringing the whole wellness continuum back.
Back, exactly.
I love it. Oh my gosh, it's like I said, amazing things that are happening there. So, Mandy, how would you define, with all of your background in dementia and all of your, memory background, what is intellectual well-being? What is this aspect of wellness that we're talking about today?
So the definition of intellectual wellness is maintaining optimal cognition to process learning, solve problems, and make decisions to manage your daily life. It's the ability to be able to be open to new ideas, critical thinking, and learning new skills to create potential for sharing with others, just like we're doing today.
Yay!
And so in referencing that definition, intellectual well-being is keeping your mind open, flexible, informed, engaged. It's, again, just as important as physical health is to your body. It's more than just a concept. Intellectual wellness actually improves the physical structure of our brains. So something that I like to give for an example is you're not as fast or physically agile as you were in your 20s. And so your mind also needs to be worked out because it does also begin to decline with age. So keeping your mind active and mentally challenged is going to keep those neural connections sharp and firing at a healthy and rapid pace.
Right, and I know one of the words that's really out there in the market is neuroplasticity, so able to adapt and change and continuing to train your brains. I think a lot of the time too, we think as we get older, we can't learn new things. I know I've heard, many people say, well, I can't learn a new language like I did when I was in elementary school. I'm too old for that. Is it true?
No, that is not true. That is one of the myths that is out there about the brain. You can learn, and the more you learn, the more you challenge yourself, the more you keep on going, the more connection your neurons make. And they don't just stay in one firing pattern. There is unlimited potential for your brain to make new pathways. There are more than 100 billion nerve cells in your brain, and each one of those cells has about 10,000 other connections to nerve cells. Those connections are called synapses. And what a synapse is, it's the junction between two cells. So think of it as like a lightning bolt between cells, and that's how our brainwaves and thoughts get transferred from cell to cell to create these connections and make up who we are. I mean, from a memory that, was about our childhood, where we left our keys, where that grocery list went, it plays vital roles in every aspect of our life and continues to make up this experience of our lives. I think of the brain as kind of like a mental filing cabinet. It stores away these little bits of information, and we think of it kind of as, this simple process, but really, it takes numerous parts of the brain and is quite a complex process that goes along with this. And the more you use your brain, again, the stronger those connections. The less you use it, the weaker the connections. That's why sometimes people find it hard to remember a name after only being introduced once. But regularly challenging yourself, creatively, problem solving, engaging in meaningful work and other activities is actually beneficial and will reduce cognitive decline, keeping you active and mentally stimulated. Another myth is that I'll just bring up real quick is that cognitive decline is a normal aging process. It's not. Yes, there are forgetful moments, but the age-related cognitive diseases are not a normal part of the aging process. And so again, to remember to just stay engaged, take that class, pick up that hobby, do something to socialize. All of those actually keep your brain strong. The connections, it keeps it full so that you don't lose the brain mass. And it actually also helps with stress management and emotional coping.
Wow. So Mandy, I'm thinking a lot about the brain as kind of a muscle too. If we're doing bicep curls or we're doing crunches, we're training and strengthening that muscle. Very similar, it sounds like, to what you're talking about is, working at it. It's a process. It's not something that just all of a sudden you're going to be sharp as a tack. And I'm glad no one on our call today said that they were sharp as a tack and they never did anything.
I would have felt really bad for myself.
Strengthen those muscles, whether it, and we're going to talk about
just like our body, if we don't exercise, we're going to lose that. And that's why I think of it, like you said, yes, as a muscle, because you have to work at it. Keep going, otherwise you're going to lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, Mandy, so just a question, kind of thinking about kind of the creativity part of things, and I know it may be a slightly off topic, but in terms of like creative arts and different types of things there, is that really exercising those creative juices? Is that going to help us?
So the hand-eye coordination and getting your mind to think outside the box, it is still challenging your brain. It is still making it work. And actually, one of the points, that I have in the presentation for lifestyle choices is, yes, do things with dexterity, because manual dexterity, because you've got that hand-eye coordination and you're challenging yourself. So you've got so many things firing in the brain, and that is amazing to work your brain and keep it active and keep it going. How to improve these things, most of us are doing everything, to boost what we already have for intellectual wellness, and we don't even know we're doing it.
Right.
Juggling work and family, meeting deadlines, learning skills, or even adapting to the world around us and an ever-changing schedule. It's frustrating, but adaptation is actually really good for your mind. Again, it's just a way to strengthen the brain by creating these constant different chains of neural connection. And it in fact is adaptation strengthens our mind, just like we were working out to strengthen our muscles. Having that value in lifelong learning and fostering critical thinking, having that moral reasoning, expanding world views, and engaging in educational pursuits are actually just a few of the traits that people who do possess intellectual wellness have. Learning those new skills, concepts, attempting to understand them, doing puzzles, it's all strengthening you, and it's actually keeping from stress, depression.
Yeah. And I love that word that you used, is adaptation. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit, dealing with everything that's been thrown at us over the last 18 months, nearly 2 years. Those are all adaptations and the resiliency that comes with that. And there is a mental and emotional toll with everything. So again, hats off to everyone who's here today and listening, because we've made it. And we're getting the benefits from kind of an intellectual, mental standpoint. I love that word. I'm going to remember that.
Yes, we definitely don't give ourselves enough credit, for everything we've gone through in our lives. But yeah, especially the past year, it doesn't seem like we're winning, but keeping our mind going and challenged and, again, not giving up, we continue to get up and, do for our family and go to work. And those are all things that are just expanding our mind and keeping us in that well-being. And right, hats off to everybody and good job. You have to pat yourself on the back because you're keeping yourself healthy and you don't even know it. Just by getting up in the morning and, doing these things and adapting. And, even the best laid plans, they go awry. You could have your day planned out from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. How many times does that day actually go the way you wanted it to? And so it never, exactly. So, you're actually strengthening your mind while you're going through that stuff. So, you're building those walls to create a stronger self.
Yeah, and Mandy, as I'm thinking about this too, it's never too late to start some of these. As I think about hobbies and I think about, unfortunately, we can't stop time. Mandy and I are trying. When we can do that, we'll let you know, but we can't stop time. So we're all aging. Our bodies will slow down, and we know that. We wish there was a magic pill for that too. But again, things like knitting and things like doing puzzles and some of those things, I think these hobbies that are directed toward that intellectual well-being avenue, it's never too late to start that, whether you're in your 20s or your 80s. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely. A sad statistic that I continue to read, and this is, because of my background with dementia practitioner and working with the elderly a lot, is, some of these cognitive age-related diseases are happening younger and younger to us. So it is never too early or too late to be challenging your mind. I was reading the statistics that there are people being diagnosed in their 30s and 40s with Alzheimer's and dementia and these different forms of cognitive impairments. And so trying to keep our minds sharp and, challenge ourselves, getting out there, and being social are definitely lifestyle choices that we want to choose to support brain health and intellectual wellness. Some of the things that I would like to bring up for lifestyle choices is, one, stay mentally stimulated. Research shows that brainy activities stimulate new connections between nerve cells and may even help brain cells generate new cells. And as you had said, developing neurological plasticity, and it builds up this functional reserve that almost provides like a hedge against brain cell loss in the future. Mentally stimulating activities should help build up your brain. Again, keeping away from that cognitive decline. So read a book, take a course online, try word puzzles, brain teasers, even math problems. Um, Many of us can download these apps on our smartphones to support enjoyable learning activities. I know I love doing all of the sudden, I love doing crosswords. That's what those are. I love doing those. And, before I don't know, I didn't really have much of an interest in them, but I love doing crosswords now. So find something that you like to do, experiment, drawing, painting, knitting, baking,
Mhm.
woodworking, anything that you can think of that might be enjoyable, that is going to make you use that critical thinking, problem solving, using the hand-eye coordination, um, amazing for your brain health. Number two, I would say, would be physical exercise. Again, research shows that using our muscles also helps our mind. When we exercise, we increase the oxygen-rich blood that's getting to our brain. So it actually helps to develop new nerve cells and increases connections between brain cells. Um,
Yeah.
this, this results in more efficient and adaptive performance while aging. It also lowers blood pressure, cholesterol levels, helps blood sugar balance, and reduces mental stress. So all of this not only helps your brain, but it helps your heart and the rest of your body too. Um, I'd
Yeah,
like to
thinking about this morning, I was like, I need to get some exercise, just so I was clear for today and I'm more focused and, kind of tuned in. Yes, my body's tired, but my mind is more tuned in, more focused. So I'm totally with you on exercise.
Exactly. Just a little while ago at 1 o'clock, I didn't get a great workout in this morning. I just jumped on my treadmill for, 15 minutes and I thought, wow, I'm going to get like a quick little walk in. So I did some power walking and, had to do a few other things while I was on the treadmill. But, it gives you those good endorphins so that you're feeling better, you're more focused. And, I actually felt less tired when I was done because I felt good that I did it. So exercise is a great thing for multiple parts of your well-being. And that's what it's really all about, is an overall well-being for all of you, including your
Yeah,
brain.
the piece of the
Um,
pie. Exactly. I'm
exactly.
thinking as well, and I'm sure another piece that you're going to talk about is food. There's a lot of stuff out there that touts to be great for your brain. Tell me a little bit about, your food choices.
Yeah, so I was just going to talk about that too. Good nutrition helps your mind and your body. There's mountains of studies supporting whole food, plant-based diets for our mental health. For example, people who eat a Mediterranean style diet, which is emphasized in like fruits, vegetables, fish, nuts, and unsaturated oils, and plant-based proteins, are less likely to develop cognitive impairments and dementia. Trying to remember to stay away from those inflammatory foods, sugar spiking, insulin releasing foods, like processed carbohydrates, which are all those foods with added sugars and made with flour. You want to aim for those foods that grow on plants and trees. The more colorful, the more vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants they have, and the healthier they are for you.
Definitely, kind of brings back one of the questions that came through today about, a lot of the TV ads and those different things that say that they will boost your memory and boost, your cognitive abilities. And, yes, they may be, whether or not they're FDA approved, but I think when it comes right down to it, is those that are, more, from the ground up, plant-based vitamins, antioxidants, all of that would really be a direction to turn. So.
Absolutely. There is lots and lots of false advertisement out there. Definitely beware of things that, say, oh, can cure these diseases or, can make you smarter and, make you faster, run and jump higher and faster like Superman. The miracle cures are false advertisements for sure. And like you said, you brought up a great point. A lot of these supplements out there are not FDA approved. I always recommend talk to your healthcare provider before you take any type of supplement. One, you don't know if it's going to counteract another medication that you're on. If you're on a blood pressure medication or a heart medication, the last thing you want to do is start something that you saw on TV and you haven't seen if there's a contraindication with your primary care provider. Even your pharmacist is a great resource. There's a lot of things out there that are not proven, and they're just trying to make money, and they actually cause more harm than good in the end. So always, always, always reach out to primary care provider before starting something like that.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for that advice. What else? What other lifestyle choices are, potentially we making that we might want to put the brakes on and pump them a little bit?
Yes, so avoid tobacco, and this is in all forms. Tobacco smoke consists of numerous carcinogenic compounds, including nicotine. The constituents of tobacco are known to have toxicities to the brain, cardiovascular system, and pulmonary systems. So again, just bad for the body in general, not just your mind, but your whole body, as well as alcohol. Drinking excessive alcohol has major risk factors that contribute to Alzheimer's and dementia. It can actually destroy nerve cells, and heavy drinking can actually shrink the hippocampus, which is that part of your brain that processes your memories. So having a smaller hippocampus means obviously you're not going to retain those long-term memories that you could if you just laid off. Not to mention that it does interrupt your sleep at night. And sleep is one of the things that is also big in memory. Again, like I had mentioned before, sleep, generally 8 hours is a recommendation. However, it differs for everybody. And I know that it's tempting to stay up late to cram in those last household chores or, get the dishes done. But honestly, the world's not going to end because the laundry's still dirty or there's dishes in your sink. Sleep deprivation causes multiple things: irritability, poor cognition, impaired reflexes, and response time. So it's best to create these short bedtime routines to promote healthy sleep habits and stay away from those smartphones, tablets, laptops. The light interferes and interrupts with our body's natural ability to have sleep. For the onset of sleep. So try to stay away from those for at least 30 minutes because it does actually interfere with that. And again, alcohol is one of those things that interferes with sleep. It's common, very, very common for nighttime wake ups and even early morning awaking. So keep sleep at the top of your list too. Caring for your emotions. People who are anxious, depressed, sleep deprived, and exhausted tend to score more poorly on cognitive function tests. And those tests don't necessarily predict an increased risk of cognitive decline, but good mental health, restful sleep, and managing stress are certainly important goals. I know we all have stressors in our lives, and it varies day to day. But what we need to keep in mind is that, you know, we shouldn't let our stressors stress us. We got to find ways to calm our mind. Keeping things like the meditation, yoga, walking, biking, anything that can promote deep breathing and being focused in the time is going to help keep our mental focus and keeping our emotions in check, and caring for our emotions, which keeps us intellectually well. Another thing is protect your head. I know when I was younger, we didn't wear bike helmets. And I hear so often, oh, well, we're fine, we didn't need those. But, in reality, moderate to severe head injuries actually increase the risk of cognitive impairment later on in life. So when you're out there, what do you got to lose? Nothing. You're protecting your head, which is actually going to protect your brain in the long run and keep you from having any type of brain injury, even if it's not a diagnosed concussion.
Right.
And build social networks. The benefits that our brain gets from social impacts is huge. It lowers mental health diseases, promoting intellectual wellness, as well as lowers your blood pressure and actually lengthens your life expectancy. So my suggestion is join groups, take classes, volunteer, schedule regular visits and phone calls with your friend and family. Build those strong social connections, because it really does give you benefits that help promote brain health.
Right. If we haven't learned anything in the last 18 months, I think that's been one that we definitely have learned, that we need that. Even if we think we're introverts, we need something like that.
And absolutely, I don't think that we've seen that until last year, or I know I hadn't. I didn't realize how much my social group really meant to me until I couldn't have them anymore. And and then I think of our kids, and how much it impacts them too. I mean, they are a resilient bunch, and I think of how adaptive they've been. And so, I truly hope that they just continue to keep this adaptable, lifestyle. Hopefully not to this extent, when we come out of it, but boy, they're resilient in every way, shape, or form. That's for sure.
Yeah. No kidding. So Mandy, you brought up, phones, which, not that I want to go back down that, but I know there's a ton of resources that are out there, and most of them will be on your phone. So don't do this right before bed, but there's a ton of apps that are out there that can help us with our brains and focusing. They're on the handout as well, but Mandy, do you want to highlight just a couple of your favorites that you think maybe people can scribble down if they don't have the handout in front of them, to be able to give it a whirl if they want to try practicing?
Yeah, so, Lumosity is a great one. CogniFit, brain fitness, Sudoku, crossword puzzles, anything that you can see on your phone that you have to use your coordination with. All of these are training your memory and, giving you new skills. Some of them are making you use that critical thinking aspect, and, others you can find that actually are more like they keep the numbers on your phone. Eidetic is one of the ones that, it's like a life planner. You can put your appointments in there, you can put phone numbers, you can use the calendar. These things really help so that you don't have to remember them. How many times a day do you use the Outlook app? I know I do. I love when I get the reminders in 15 minutes, you have, this meeting, and it's like, oh yes, thank goodness, because you might be off doing something else, and you get just really carried away. So there are tons and tons of apps. You can try the free ones. Some of them you have to pay for. There's some that are preferred through Apple products, some through Android. They do differ also depending on your carrier. I know over here I use a US Cellular. I know Verizon and some other companies are really big and more of a nationwide product. But there's tons of apps out there, and not that we want you to spend any more time on your phone or connected to these electronics, but they are good when you're just sitting there, and instead of turning on the TV and you want something to do with your mind, to exercise your mind, throw in a crossword puzzle, or find something like that, do a math problem, find a brain teaser. I know I was on a call the other day, and the way they started their meeting was with these little brain teasers. And I just thought, wow, what a great thing to do, to just start everybody's creative juices and, get everybody intellectually stimulated, and then I feel like that meeting just went so amazing, because everybody was into it at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe we take a page out of that book and we all kind of make the goal to do something like that every morning. So, why not give it a try? So, Mandy, I assume you can never do too much of this, doing it once a day, doing it a couple times a week. Is there really a equation of perfection with something like this?
there isn't, it's kind of like self-care. We kind of neglect doing it because it's for us. We have every intention to help and save and make everybody else in the world better, and when it comes to ourselves, we feel like we are being selfish, or there's not a right equation. Do it as much as you can, because you're just training your brain to have these better connections, and so do it when you can. Don't stress yourself out about it. This is supposed to be a positive thing, and it's supposed to help you and have health benefits. So, we don't want to put any type of negative connotation on it. We want it to be positive and hopeful. So I say do as much of it as we can, as often as we can, listening to a podcast, getting that, that new knowledge that somebody has, listening to things like that in the car, or, listening to music, pick up an instrument that you've never done before, things like that. Again, it's just stimulating your brain, and you're creating these new connections that your brain wouldn't have if you didn't do it. As much or as little as you can, preferably more.
Yes, well, and I think, one of the aspects too is kind of a summary, comment as well, since we're, reaching our time limit here. But again, finding something that you love to do, if some of these things that Mandy's talking about today don't suit your fancy, if you're like me and Sudoku seems like the most impossible task, I don't enjoy it. But there's so many other things that you can do, just like finding the right exercise routine that you love and that you'll stick with. I think brain training is probably the same way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so Mandy, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that everyone who is listening today got something out of this. I know I scribbled down some keywords and different things to keep in mind. And we will also post the handout in the show notes for the podcast as well. So feel free to grab onto that for all the great apps and resources that Mandy shared with us. And we hope that you all got something out of this. So thank you so much, Mandy, again. I appreciate your expertise, and I'm glad I get to work right beside you.
I am so glad. Thank you so much, Tara. And yes, I hope everybody has enjoyed this.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week.